Episode 7 of the Party Town podcast, alongside Alex Kane and special guest Brady Miller, who's been trying to get on the podcast for about a year now, give or take.
Yeah.
Finally on the podcast. My name is Elijah Bond, and gentlemen, we have a lot to go over. Crazy week this week in Waterloo.
Yeah, that was the busiest two draft days I've ever remember.
I mean, we didn't have playoff hockey to watch, so what else was there to do, honestly?
Pretty much.
Yeah. Very true. First off, a lot of trades. A lot of trades happened. 5 of them have been posted. That happened during the last two or the 2 days of trade. Starting off, the trade that started during the season. Waterloo traded Morgan Brady to Green Bay for draft picks and future considerations, and it was released on Monday that Waterloo received Jack Noltgen in return.
Yeah, I don't even remember there being future considerations on that, but it seems like halftime of the draft, the trade releases like that, they'll, one team announces it one way, one's a different way, and then neither of them match up, and then stuff like this just, shows back up to finish that trade. So,
and honestly, I think this is going to work out pretty well for us. Jack had I think it was a plus minus of plus like 5 or 8 at the end of the season, and he is on the NHL draft prospect list right now. So this is a great great pickup for the Blackhawks here. I'm excited for him to play for us.
I think. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I think that trading, selling off the veterans that Waterloo had and at the end of February last year, that set the tone for what this draft was going to be, and knowing that the Blackhawks are going to get some pieces back, and people may not realize that future considerations are a big part of trades in this part of the year, late in the season and in the off season, and Waterloo gets a bolster on an already strong and returning decor.
Yeah, it's kind of strange, getting a defenseman back. I kind of felt like the defense room was pretty full, but obviously it's a body at camp, and he can prove he deserves to be there more than someone else. And there's obviously always an ever-changing atmosphere or landscape out there where, someone could randomly decide to jump north of the border.
Yeah.
But, it doesn't hurt to have extra bodies there, and, it might be something to fill a certain role that Gibson and Gordon want, not to necessarily light up the score sheet, but just be a lockdown third liner that goes out there and kills penalties or, takes, shuts down another team's top line or something.
Yeah. Very well said.
Second trade of 5. The Blackhawks traded Sioux Falls, or Jacob Lynch to Sioux Falls for future considerations.
Is it the assumption that we're probably going to get a player out of this?
Yes, that's what I would assume, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, well, and same, we were kind of discussing that too, is, we owe them future considerations. I have down for, I deleted all my stuff besides that pretty much, so I forgot what it was for, but we owe them futures for, I feel like it was the Chambray trade. We threw futures
It's Victor Erickson trade.
Oh, that's right. Yep, him. So God only knows, they might just, the teams might agree like, we're kind of happy where we're at. There's nothing that we need to do, because, Sioux Falls might want someone, but we might want someone that we don't want to give up. And who knows? And I think teams have the abilities, to make it like conditional where they can push it back a year or something like that, or wait till preseason. I didn't half the stuff so like behind the cloak that you don't even know.
Yeah, and I think part of it is you'll see this with the trades coming up. These teams are still in the playoffs, right? So they can't say, "Oh, hey, this player that's playing top 9 minutes for us is going away next year." I mean, that would make the fan bases too happy. The third trade of 5, Fargo. This was a big one. Happened Monday morning that we saw. Fargo received the first overall pick in Phase 2 draft, and they selected an NTDP player. The Blackhawks got a Phase 2 pick back from them, a Phase 1 pick, second round, and then future considerations.
Yeah, I'm expecting someone big coming back the other way. And obviously not knowing their roster situation and like college commitment situation, it'd be all speculation at this point. It's obvious that Waterloo had someone in mind, or who knows? Maybe Fargo came wanting the first pick and made the offer, and Gibson's like, well, our goalie should be still, obviously they were targeting a goalie, and then it's like he should still be there, pick 6, so we can make that work.
I was just about to say that as well, that we were pretty much already set on who we're going to pick, whether we had the 1st or 6th pick, so it didn't really matter. So, yeah.
And I also think part of it is Fargo, as I just said, they're still in the playoffs, right? Yep. So maybe there's a deal that's been agreed to, like a player coming back that we don't know about. And like Alex said, I'm expecting a big player. We were both kind of thinking that Waterloo would get a goalie back from Fargo, but with Waterloo picking 2 goalies that we'll get to later in the show in Phase 2, that doesn't seem like that's going to be the possibility here.
Well, that, and we later on traded for a goalie, so which we'll talk about in a little bit, I'm sure.
Well, and what's strange is I just went to look at Fargo's number 1 pick. They picked Aurelio Garcia from the national team. And it's not someone I would feel like I need to trade up to get, because he's 49 games, had 17 points, and was -21. And obviously that doesn't mean anything, because Brendan McMurrow didn't have great numbers with national team, and he came in and performed pretty well for us. And those kids, they get shoved into a role where they're playing 3rd or 4th line minutes, role players. And that's just where they sit, because they play so much time together that they have an established role, and that's just kind of what they are forced to do. So it's strange. It'll definitely be interesting to see what comes back, and let's just hope Fargo loses Friday and Saturday, and we know on Monday.
Trade 4, the Blackhawks sent Rio Traharn to Madison for a Phase 2 5th round pick, and I believe that is Katsala, correct?
We picked. Yeah, I went and looked, and we basically got our 1st round pick back, and we got Noah, Sansa, Katala, and looking, doing some Instagram creeping that I like to do. There's I'd almost say a guarantee he comes over. Because pretty much all the comments, through translation, are saying good luck in the USA, and this was a week before the draft even happened. And then Theo Besnier, however you say his name, that played for Dubuque this year, who's also from France, had commented Blackhawks ? And Katala kind of went like that with an emoji. So I kind of
6 days ago.
6 days ago, and I'm assuming there had been conversations that it was likely that Waterloo liked him. So obviously maybe someone to fill an immediate role, and I really thought Rio was going to pop off next year, but it'll just be for Madison now. He seemed him, and then leading into the next trade, him and DeGraff. I had made a comment earlier in the end of the season to Elijah that those two kind of seemed to really get confident and grow into their role where they were at, and I thought we're poised to be top 6 next year, but shit happens.
And Waterloo also got future consideration out of the deal. So again, we'll probably find out in the next couple of weeks. But if Madison gets that play out of Caleb Heil, we probably won't know for 3 weeks.
Yeah, he's been staying on his head, dude. It's crazy. We thought the Carter Casey run last year was crazy, and Heil's. He's again. If it wasn't for Heil, Madison goes out in the 1st round.
Oh, 100%. Like, didn't they only score like 3 or 4 goals in the 1st round, like total? Or am I crazy?
No, I think it was like a 1-0 game and then a 2-1 game.
Yeah.
Even out there in Muskegon, first game. 2-1, I think, and then stopped like
that sounds right.
39 out of 40.
Yep.
And then even in the loss, I think he stopped. I think the first one was 38 out of 90 and he won, and the second one was 38 out of 40 and lost. Like, he's just insane.
So the fifth and final trade that was announced after the draft that took place in the draft. This is a big one. Waterloo sent Owen DeGraff and a phase 2 third-round pick to Sioux City, and the Blackhawks got back Ryan Poirier, Ryder Shea, and a phase 2 eighth-round pick.
I really like this trade. As much as I'm going to miss Owen DeGraff, like, I think Ryan is actually a really good player. He's going to develop over the summer, and he's going to fit in right. He's going to make the roster for sure. There's no doubt about that. And honestly, I like the idea of having a safety net in Ryder Shea. He's not the most consistent goalie in our league, but for just in case neither of our draft pick goalies pan out, at least we do have Ryder Shea as an option to be the starting guy. Because, yeah, that Sioux City team wasn't that great this past season. Yeah, they were better than us and made the playoffs, but like, he did stand on his head from time to time and came out with some pretty massive wins late in the year. So I don't mind that trade. I'm going to miss Owen, though. He was a great player, great personality, but yeah, I don't mind this trade.
Well, I think if I had looked, then yeah, Shea's numbers aren't great, obviously, but frankly, I think this is the weakest I've seen the Western Conference in a long time.
Yep.
The disparity is so great. And when he came in, people were commenting on it. Sioux City was 6-10-2, and looking at the stats, he went 14-7 in net, and in his shorter season than what Vic Torn had. Pretty marginal stats compared to him, but yeah, Vic Torn was an even 500, and Shea was 66% win percentage.
He was winning hockey games. He helped them make the playoffs, so can't complain about that. Yeah.
And I was just telling Elijah this the other night. I was searching his name on Twitter, or X, to see what highlights and stuff were out there, and there was like 4 or 5, him sliding post to post, making a sliding save on a backdoor feed, and then I get far enough down and got the refresher that he actually dropped the mitts with Henriquez from Green Bay in like one of his first couple of games, because he didn't even have a name on his jersey yet. So he's obviously, he's gonna go out there and stand up for his team if he needs to too. And then obviously make some highlight reel saves. So he should be kind of a safety net for next year.
I will say, I'm going to add one more thing here. When the trade was announced on Tuesday, Elite Prospects had both of Poirier and Shea going to college. That has since changed. I checked yesterday, and it's been pushed back to year. So it's a shoe-in that they're going to make the team next year.
I say, and that the nice thing about Elite Prospects is, like, it seems like Waterloo doesn't get their stuff updated as much. So if I see something, you can send it in as like you have an account. So that's probably, they probably changed it just because of me, but it's the assumption if you're trading for, they go review it and you send them a link to the trades. And if you're trading for the guys, you're not going to give up stuff like that in a player if they're not expected to come back.
Right.
And these coaches obviously are, in with players' advisors and know the stuff before the public does, obviously.
Okay, so that covers the crazy 5 trades that took place over the last 2 days. And now we can get into the fun and tedious part of the night, and that is recapping the draft. So we'll start with phase 1, which is where we should start. So phase 1.
We'll just breeze through these guys there, and then obviously likelihood we won't see much of them next year.
Right.
Yeah, so I want to preface this by saying a lot of these guys will not play next year. The one phase 1 pick that did play full-time minutes for Waterloo last year was Caleb Yanovich, who got hurt in preseason and then came back later on think it was November, December area, and then play the rest of the season. So that, it's very, very rare for these phase one picks to play. And a handful of last year's players did play, but again, it was later in the year, like a Nash Road, Keegan Davis, that kind of player who played a handful of games. And you saw a few of those guys sign their SPDAs to return to Waterloo. So maybe that's the route these guys are going. But anyway, with the first pick of the first round, the Blackhawks selected Evan Miller from the Chicago Mission 15U AAA team.
Something that really stands out about Evan is that he's really great on the breakout. That's something that we actually struggled with this past season, was just getting the puck out of the defensive zone and creating offense. From what I understand, from what I've heard and seen all these reports, that is his strongest asset as a hockey player. So, yeah, I mean, if he can transition that into the USHL, that'd be awesome. But I guess time will tell, since he's only 15 years old. So,
yeah, I say, and it that's kind of been the trend the last few years, is the one 16-year-old that does make it out of camp has been a defenseman. Yeah. Obviously, a couple of those were under Smavy's system, and as a former defenseman himself, that probably helped out. But I mean, he's got decent numbers there for offense. The possibilities there. He comes in and just comes into camp, shows out, and forces himself into a lineup. But I think we're pretty deep at defense already from what we've drafted and what I suspect is returning. So it'd be a big ask to get your way in there.
With Blackhawks first of round two picks, they selected Jack Reel from the Pittsburgh Pens 15U team.
Yep, and we've had some pretty good luck there. Obviously, Reed Moore came out of there and played good. They rattled off someone else. I'm drawing a blank now, but obviously can put the puck in the net.
With the second of two second round picks, the Blackhawks selected Charlie Marvin from the PEL North Stars.
Yeah, this guy grew up in War Road, Minnesota. I know that players do a great job developing up there. They're usually one of the higher end high school programs. So hopefully he makes a massive jump this next season up there in War Road and makes the roster in 2 years from now. I could see that happening.
Yeah, I say that whole Minnesota, like the lower down Minnesota structure, is kind of weird, because this Pell, it's like a prep program, I think, or like a AAU. Like he wasn't playing like a JV for his high school. So and they didn't tell you how many games he played. So it's kind of tough, and you don't know the quality of opponent. But yeah, I agree. I would assume next year he makes War Road, and there's a stat out there. I think they have the most NHL picks per capita of the world. So being such a small town up there, so it's up there, and if they know how to get the talent out of somebody, they will. So.
Oh yeah, 100%. A lot of hard workers up there in northern Minnesota. They're just built completely different from the rest of the state. They fight for every inch.
Yep.
So this pick drew a lot of attention on social media. Third round pick for the Blackhawks is Nathan Pavelski, Madison County 15U.
I can't imagine what his jersey is going to sell for in a couple of years. Even if he finishes with 0 points his first year as a Blackhawk, his jersey will be the highest sold in auction at the end of that season.
It'd be cool. I don't know if he would. I could see it, but if they unretire Joe's number, or have a almost 16. Like a one-off night where he wears it for warm-ups or something, that would be sick. I would go just to watch the auction for that.
Oh yeah. 100%.
But yeah, I have wrote down that he's gonna get the keys to the city. If he give it a year, he comes in. He's automatically gonna be a crowd favorite.
Oh,
like you said, even if he goes out there and just skates in circles at center ice, we're gonna ring the bells for him. But
Oh yeah.
obviously playing Madison Capitals 15U with his dad as a coach. I'm assuming they play pretty good talent, so the numbers are going to be good. Yeah, he's obviously got the bloodline between him, his dad and his uncle. So
Yeah.
again, if there's talent in there, they're gonna know a way to get it out, and hopefully, I mean, maybe some affiliate games at the end of the year next year, and then see him in 2 years.
Yeah. I felt like there was
Part of me,
you go ahead.
part of me says that they bring him in for preseason just so they can sell a jersey at auctions this year and make some more money. I mean, that to go along with that, if they don't retire Joe's number 8, he's got to wear 16, right? Like Joe did for Dallas. That's kind of where I'm leaning.
That would make the most sense. Because what did Scott wear when he played for the Blackhawks? Was Scott Pavelski 24?
I want to say so. My parents have his jersey, but I'm not going to go look.
Because when did he play? Back in 08, 09? I feel like he wore
yeah,
number
it sounds
24.
right.
Yeah.
I'm looking right now.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Oops.
Wasn't there quite a few draft picks in the USHL this past draft from the Madison Capitals AAA program? I felt like there was at least like 3 or 4 different guys in that Phase 1 draft.
Yeah, I think
they must have had a pretty big year.
Yes. Sorry, looking at Nathan's elite prospects, his profile picture, has him wearing number 8, which obviously is retired in Waterloo, but exceptions can be made.
Yeah, I just want to say, if it's Joe's son, I feel like he has the right to wear number 8. Like,
100%.
Like, you kind of have to let him. Why not? Yeah, that's a lot of pressure, though, on Nathan, because, like, all the fans, we respect Joe Pavelski so much, and he's still a legend around Waterloo. And
that first time he's announced,
so pressure.
If he, that first time, if he's in, obviously, I would guess first time starting, they're going to start him just because, but that crowd pop's going to be insane.
Oh my gosh.
And then touching on the draft picks from Madison, Alex Postcanny said 8 from Madison in total from the AAA team.
Gotcha.
I couldn't find a concrete source on Scotty's number, but I think it was 24. Just off the top of my head, I think it was 24.
Here, I'll do some research quick. So I think the USHL like rosters go back that far.
He was 24. I just found a photo of him wearing 24.
Okay, all right.
Multiples of 8, just slot him in right to 16.
Yeah, why not?
That would make the most sense. Yeah, I mean, I had heard, and so did Alex, that he had a spot in Waterloo if he wanted it, and looks like he wants it in a couple of years. Which, again, with Joe and Scott playing, it does make sense. So, I am very excited to see him play in Waterloo, as is the entire fan base, because, he won a Clark Cup in Waterloo. Joe did. So, and growing up, I was a San Jose fan, and he played for San Jose, so that kind of went like that. So, I'm excited to see Nathan play.
Yeah, the legacy picks are cool. Side note: Green Bay picked Jonathan Cooper, which is John Cooper's son, who's now the head coach at Tampa Bay. Used to be Green Bay's head coach, so that was cool to see too. Just kind of these legacy picks come through. They're always kind of fun to see their dad's teams take them, just to kind of have that as a almost social media stunt, or just get some traffic flow on the page.
I think John Cooper was a coach for 1 or 2 years in Green Bay, and the 1 year he was the coach, or 2, he beat Waterloo in the Clark Cup final. So
I see, yeah, they won a cup with him.
2012 was a rough year, man. Come on. That was a fun finals, though. Like, we weren't supposed to make it into the finals back in that 2012, but we made a really deep playoff run and forced a Game 5. That was a lot of fun. Jamie
Green Bay was loaded.
Oh man, that was a good time.
Okay, moving on. Finally, first of two picks, Waterloo selected Alexander AJ Moore from the Little Caesars 15U team.
Another really good program they have up there in Detroit. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with it. I think he'll make the team in a couple of years.
Yeah, I see. Not obviously not much out there to go on because these, they're they don't get the coverage because they're young yet, and in 2 years when they're getting ready for the NHL draft, if they're that far, their games are gonna have changed and progressed. So Little
Right.
Caesars produces talent. I'm sure this kid, if he's there, he's got talent. So
Right.
just see where he goes in his development path.
Yeah. My thought process with these like phase one draft picks is like if they're the best player for these high end programs like Little Caesars or Madison or whatever else AAA programs, like if they're their best player, they must be pretty darn good.
Yep.
But because Nathan Pavelski, going back to him, he was like the first of 8 players to get drafted from that program. So
Yep.
the thought is like they're the best player of that region of that AAA program.
See, what I think is going to be interesting to see what happens. So, we're drafting these 16-year-old kids. Can we sign them to their development agreement, but then send them back to AAA? Because like I know CHL guys, CHL does that, where like you'll be scrolling through like the Canadians AAA, their version of AAA up there, where they're playing AAA hockey, but it has Medicine Hat or Calgary or someone next to them saying they're in their development system, but they're just playing for an affiliate, and that's where I think this NDL might come in, where Waterloo might have a quote unquote direct affiliate, kind of like what we're doing with Watertown, where it seems like we send more players there. So it'll be interesting to see if once we start drafting these phase one kids, if we can sign them and say, hey, we want you to develop our way. We're going to put you back in AAA and just keep close tabs on you and help you train in the summer with them being able to reimburse them and help them with travel and training and all that good stuff.
And with that affiliate, like you said, we've seen players get sent to Watertown from Waterloo. Filius Lashaw a couple years ago, and JJ Soleko and Yakov Matievich this year. So it will be interesting to see how that does affect these phase one picks, and maybe they get a year in Watertown or another Null team, and they come to Waterloo for 2 years. I mean, it's hard telling right now, and really, the junior hockey landscape right now is in flux in America, especially with the new NCAA rules that could be coming into effect. And I'll get into that later. That I noticed something in phase two, but the second pick of round 4 was Jamison Needham of St. Sebastian School in the prep circuit.
Yeah, it's kind of we seem to dip our toes in there every couple of years. We've had some pretty good East Coast picks. The one that just comes to mind right away is Griffin Erdman. Just, kind of a hard-nosed, gritty, going to go to the dirty areas. And that just seems the way they, breed them out there. So I'm assuming this kid's the same way. Got pretty good offense, decent size. It should just be a hard-working player.
The first pick of 3 in round 5 for the Hawks was Alex Jankuler from Stansted College Varsity U18.
Is this a Euro player? Is he from Slovakia? Is that
He's
correct?
from Slovakia, but I looked. I think he's been up there for 2 years now, maybe 3 years.
Okay.
So and that's another thing of like, will he count towards the import limit? Who knows? Obviously, 15-year-old playing U18 hockey at 6 foot 390 pounds. He just fill his body out and get maybe just get a little bit stronger. He might maybe a year and then make the jump, or if he comes if he reports to camp and he can come in here and start throwing the body around, he might make the roster. I kind of have a little bit of a source on Twitter that deals a lot with the Slovakian prospects. I asked him, said he's a tall, strong defender, has a good shot. Sounds like he's just got to work on the puck handling, which 15-year-old defensemen, they're not going to be perfect with that. So
Plenty of time for him to develop those skills before he comes to Waterloo. So,
yep.
The second of 3 fifth-round picks for the Hawks was Sonny Cantori, Chicago Fury U15 AAA, and this was my favorite besides Pavelski. My favorite pick of Phase 1 for the Hawks.
Yep, I have, on his lead prospects, he's got, some like endorsement stuff, and just says he's a speedy playmaking center. Again, can't say much. Don't have a lot of, obviously film on him, but if there's scouts that are saying that, it'd just be something, get him a couple years of experience, and again, has a shot in a year or two, maybe. I obviously don't know the kid.
Also, according to his elite prospects, he is on the OHL draft radar. So kind of have to be careful of that. I mean, that's also a great sign that he is a great hockey player,
Yep.
But we're also going to be competing with the OHL for his rights. So
that's going to be another thing that applies to like the Little Caesars, is it seems like the OHL can dip into Michigan pretty good with having Sault Ste. Marie and Flint right there in Michigan. It'd be a tough draw. So, it's obviously just going to be a competition of who can get him to sign first.
Yeah. Either that, or if he ends up making the Blackhawks at 17, like we can have him for a year and then he makes the jump to the OHL is also an idea. But
that's what everyone gets all upset about it, and I get it. But if that's the natural process of it now, where we get them young, have them for a year or two, and then they go play a year there and then go to college, then whatever. Like, eventually, I think we're all going to be on a super level playing field, because the NHL's obviously with a little bit of their announcement today, that was again just another word salad release from USHL.
Nothing burger.
Yeah. The NHL is pushing hard into the USHL to get bigger, do more. So I think we're going down that road. It obviously takes time, and just, Monday during the draft, Glenn Heffernan has said that they're looking at possibility of up to 8 teams within the next 3 to 5 years that to expand the league. There's been greenlit Ohio and Indiana for 2 expansion teams where the builders approved like the building plans or whatever. So, I mean, that one's probably 2 years out, and he's been in contact with West Coast cities, which I think that would be idiotic if you don't fill in the middle down there. But
it's Dayton, Ohio that has the green light in the Ohio expansion. And where is it in Indiana that might be getting the expansion franchise?
Oh, what'd he say? I want Fishers is popping up in my head, but I don't think it's Fishers.
I think it's an Indianapolis suburb.
Okay.
Yeah,
One of
Going
the
back to
suburbs.
the Indiana Ice, let's have a rematch of 2014. That would be phenomenal.
No, let's please not. I have bad memories of the Indiana Ice.
Well, the thing with the Ice is they're still technically part of the league. They're just dormant. They've never folded or anything like that. They're still just hanging out.
Yeah, they had a really weird arena situation where they were playing, like sharing a venue with like a college basketball team or something. And then all of a sudden they were like, oh, we're going to temporarily play in this mall because of our contract, whatever situation. And then, 2014 hits and they're like, oh, yeah, this isn't a viable, the mall arena they were playing in wasn't a viable option for the for a USHL caliber team. So they're like, yeah, we'll figure out the arena situation. And I guess they never have, is how I remember that happening. But
it'd be a good expansion. It'd fill in a lot of that middle ground of getting out to Youngstown.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I feel bad for Youngstown. Like, who's their rival? Like, their closest team to them is what? Like Muskegon or Chicago?
It's Muskegon, which is a 4.5 hour drive, I think.
That's horrible. Like,
their biggest rival is the city, because halftime you look at their video feed, it's fucking empty in there, and half the seats are tarped off. But
I can't believe there was rumors of Youngstown going to the OHL. Like who cares? Like, there's
let
no
'em.
Youngstown fans. Like they're not going to sell tickets. Like you look at the OHL attendance, most of those teams are averaging well over 3,000 fans.
Yeah.
That would be horrible to add a Youngstown team that averages what 900 to 1,000. Like financially, that does not make sense for them to go to the OHL. If anything, they should go down to the NAL, like the NAHL.
Yeah,
But,
play the Eastern Division.
yeah, I think that's what they used to do. They used to have a team in that league, but I could be
Well,
wrong.
I think the owner of Youngstown owns the Maryland Black Bears, I believe, because they kind of seem to flip
Yeah.
players back and forth.
Which I guess that kind of makes sense why they do that, because those two
Yeah.
teams are pretty close to each other. So it'd
Yeah, I'm
be
gonna say
easy
the
to-
same thing with Lincoln and what was the North
Mason
Iowa Bulls.
City, yeah. R.I.P. the North Iowa Bulls of the NAHL.
You got the
No.
Toros now; it's fine.
Yeah. Well,
We
the
had talked-
Toros are going to be rebranded into the
Oh,
North
that's
Iowa
right.
Bulls.
That's
So,
right.
like,
That's right.
it works out.
My family had talked about going up there to a North Iowa Bulls game for years, and we finally did it. And then the next day or two after that, they announced that they were moving to Houston. So, anyway, the third and final pick of the fifth round for the Hawks in Phase 1 was Dashiell Yaramillo from the Colorado Thunderbirds 15U AAA.
Yeah, his elite prospects has offensive defender, power play specialist, and 69 points as a defender. Obviously, that's not wrong. So, it might just be a thing to get him used to a heavier play style in the USHL, and then he can make the jump. Probably soon if he's got that offensive touch, kind of like what we saw with Dejanovich. He scored a ton and then made the jump.
So from now on, the Hawks just have one pick in each round. Sixth round pick for the Hawks was Drew McDevitt from the LA Junior Kings 15U team.
They have a great AAA program out there. So hopefully he sticks around in LA for another year to develop there and then make the jump. I don't know much about Drew, but hopefully it pans out.
Yeah, so they have him listed for 101 points total. I think they play, they have like the same team plays in like a couple different, leagues.
Right.
And then it's out there might be maybe a little bit of a talent disparity too. The inflate points totals. It's always tough to tell, what tournaments these teams are going to. So you just got to take it with a grain of salt and see if it stays consistent over the couple years.
The seventh round pick for the Hawks was Ty McGroarty, from the New Jersey Avalanche 16U team.
According to his elite prospects 2 years ago, he was playing for the Philadelphia AAA program, and he put up 117 points in 66 games. So that's a wild stat line. But if he can put the puck in the net, I mean, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping he'd have some sort of bloodline connection to like Rutger McGroarty, and I think it was his old man's a coach too somewhere, but nothing that I can see is any sort of connection unless it's, a cousin, but it's just kind of a notable last name, whether it's any, obviously any connection or not. And then it looks like he's playing up an age group with New Jersey at 16U level, so maybe a little further along in his development.
He also has been invited to like the national team camps that like they have like for U15 where there's like the team white, team blue, and all that. So he played in like a mini tournament with that, put up 6 points in 6 games, which that's saying quite a bit that he's one of the higher end players born in the U.S.
Well, and you're going into a tournament with kids you don't play with, so you don't know what they do. So yeah, it's kind of stands out a little bit more too.
The ninth round pick for the Hawks was Dmitry Tretiak from the Oakland Junior Grizzlies 16U AAA team.
This is another one of those. Yeah, when I first saw it, I was like, maybe he's like a great grandson of Vladislav Tretiak from the 80
from
Olympics.
Soviet Union team, yeah.
But it's spelled differently. That one was with an I, and this is with a Y. Again, another one of the Euros and from Russia playing in the States. yeah, I don't know. Point total isn't there, but he might be a defender, a solid defender, not much on the offensive side yet, but he also might just be playing in a role that doesn't give him a lot of opportunities. Who knows?
Player type, it says that he's a puck moving defenseman, so kind of similar to Evan that I talked about earlier. He could help with the breakout, developing plays, getting the puck out of the defensive zone, and yeah, something that we struggled with this past season.
I say we lack that the most. Is we got so used to seeing Dylan Compton, Ben Robertson, just a good puck defense, a puck moving defenseman that joins the rush, and next thing you know, he's down there at the net putting pucks in or whatever. It's just the different play styles, and I don't know. Gordon might want that. He just wasn't handed that. It'll be a telling year to see what kind of play style we get out of defensemen this year.
Yeah. I think it's really cool that Gordon will actually have the opportunity to make his own team this year. Cause was he even part of the staff when we had the draft last year?
No,
neither was Gibson. I say Gibson wasn't there. Yeah, I think Gordon was announced later than what Smaby was.
Yep. Cause Smaby was literally June, right at the end of the season. He had an interview with PK O'Hanley, and PK O'Hanley had a massive say in Matt Smaby's hire, if I remember correctly. And oh man, we really took Matt Smaby for granted because he was a fantastic coach for the Blackhawks. The amount of development that he put into his players, the amount of time and effort, because his first year as a Blackhawk, I thought we weren't going to make the playoffs. We weren't that good at the beginning part of the season, but he pushed for us. The team improved so much, snuck into the playoffs and beat Lincoln in the first round.
That was a fun game.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think we got lucky to have Smaby for last year too, because I'd been seeing his name was out there in the coaching circles. Yeah. But I think, with him ending up at his alma mater, North Dakota, I think it was one of those deals where he had looked at maybe a different job, and then had heard, hey, if Brad Berry doesn't get the team turned around this year, we're gonna make a coaching change.
Yep.
And with him going, I mean, he's automatically in at North Dakota as associate head coach. So I would assume, he's, 1A on coaching if Dane Jackson gets relieved at any point for anything, or if Dane Jackson wants to make the jump pro. I would assume maybe would damn near be announced the same day if he doesn't go elsewhere before then.
Yeah. I have a feeling that Matt Smaby was kind of just waiting for that job opportunity to open up. I think you already mentioned it, but he's a North Dakota for lifer. He is bought into that program because that's where he played his college hockey at. And there's no shot that he will, as soon as he gets that head coaching job, there's no shot someone takes it away from him. He's going to do so many marvelous things with that program. I mean, already as an associate head coach, he took them to helped take them to the Frozen Four. So there's no way he's leaving. He is going to retire as a North Dakota Fighting Hawk.
Yeah, I say that you're at the perfect middle ground. You're at a perennial powerhouse in hockey that, should, just on a history aspect, should be able to compete with the Big Ten teams. It's pretty obvious that a lot of the Big Ten teams are benefiting from the NIL money. Michigan, the amount of talent Michigan had and on their roster this year was insane. It's an interesting time, and the NCHC and Big Ten I think are gonna run college hockey besides a Quinnipiac that just has a good gritty style that is tough to play against.
Don't forget about the Hockey East. I mean, they'll also run the show pretty well between Boston College, Boston U. I mean,
they kind of had a down year this year, so it's kind of easy to forget about them schools out there that. Yeah, I think I think this was the first year that a BU or a BC wasn't in the Frozen Four in 15 years or whatever.
2011, I think was the last time that didn't happen.
Yeah.
I could be wrong though. I feel like there was a more recent year, but 2011 for sure there wasn't.
Yep.
Anyways, let's go back to the draft.
I say back on track.
My bad.
Moving on. So I was wrong earlier. The Blackhawks actually had two round 11 picks. The first one was Connor O'Gara from, again, the Chicago Mission 15U AAA team.
Yeah, it looks like, an undersized forward, 5'6", 133, according to Elite Prospects, 28 points. Round 11, it's a shot in the dark, and just see what happens in a few years.
The second of their 11th round picks for the Hawks was Benjamin Wolfram from Chaska. Played Bantam AA.
What is it? 70 points in 35 games, as I'm seeing, or 78 points, my bad, in 35 games playing AA Bantam hockey. That's a very competitive level up in Minnesota, where just a lot of physical contact being up there in the Bantams. But it's also another one of those crapshoots where it's like, well, he wasn't good enough. Well, I shouldn't say not good enough for his high school hockey team. He was 15 years old, probably not going to make it, even if he was at a not so great high school team. But time will tell.
Yeah, I say Chaska, Chanhassen, they separate for varsity though, don't they? Because yeah. So I mean, they have probably had a pretty big prospect pool, and then just give them Bantam at AA first line minutes compared to a handful of games at varsity, and just be a healthy scratch and just get some hockey. And obviously we'll probably make the jump to varsity next year and hopefully do just as well.
The last pick of phase 1 was Brody Rouser from Rogers Varsity / PEL Lakers.
Again, kind of a undersized defender, which kind of seemed to be a trend this year. There was a lot of them taken. Not a huge point total, but I think I saw he only really started playing consistently the last half of the year. He cracked the roster and got more consistent ice time. So again, just starting to make that climb to varsity to develop. So it's a project pick.
Yeah, and like you guys said, you'll see that a lot with the late phase 1 picks. So finally, moving on to the phase 2 picks. And the first overall pick was Sebastian Charvat, and big goalie, 6'5", 176.
Yep. Saw the net for 37 games, and I put that down just as the U20 team. He had like a handful of games at, I think, like the U17 or U18 level, and then I think he saw like one game, I would assume professionally. But 3.4 goals against and 90.6 save percentage. Pretty consistent in there. His teammate was about the same. So it's probably pretty true to the team. And then, those European style hockeys, I think, can be a little more high scoring over there because they play on a big sheet all the time. So they got more room to score. Talent levels kind of probably drop off relatively quick. If you got a really good team, they're really good. If you got a okay team, you're probably not as great. So it's tough to tell, but he matches his teammate, his fellow goalies pretty good. So it's not like one, he had a bad year. It's pretty consistent with the whole team.
Yeah. Something that stands out to me about his stats, though, so in his record, it says that he has a losing record with a 3.44 goal against average, like you said. For him to still have over a 900 save percentage is so impressive. I think that is so underrated. For him to be giving up over 3 goals a game, but still having a 900 save percentage, that means he's facing well over 30 shots a game. Like, he is getting peppered every single night. So for him to nearly have a 500 record with that in mind is so impressive. So he's definitely going to be a gamer. No, I'm super excited to have him. Hopefully he makes the team. I would like to think he would, since we picked him in the first round, but we'll see how that pans out.
I say, and even looking at his numbers, they have him number 9 on European goalie for NHL Central Scouting. So there's a good shot he gets drafted this year, and I can, most of the time those teams draft someone from Europe, they want them over here starting to play the American style hockey.
Right.
So it's
Yeah, plus he's 6'5". That helps him, helps his NHL draft stock a little bit.
Yep.
Because NHL teams are always looking for bigger bodies in net. It's just always more of a safer option.
Yep.
Here is what the Puck Preps guys had to say in their partnership with the USHL.
If that's a serious question.
So here we go with the 6th pick in the first round going to Waterloo. Waterloo selected Sebastian Chavat, 6'5", 176 goaltender. Looks like an international goalie.
Yeah, I mean, I can touch on this a little bit. This is a guy who's on the NHL radar. He's on Central Scouting's list, and I think one of the things in the USHL that we see a lot is a lot of these sort of Central European guys, a lot of Czechs, a lot of Slovaks, and generally those are the areas of the world where guys are really willing to come over here and use the USHL as a stepping stone. I think we've again seen a lot of that in recent years, and I think we've seen a lot of really good goaltending in the USHL come through from Europe this year, and I think he's another good one. He's really, really tall, he's big, but he's got really good athleticism as well, really good length in terms of his overall sort of stature in the net, obviously being 6'5". So a really nice pickup for Waterloo, and I think he's going to be an interesting pickup for sure.
And that'll take us.
So moving on, get that graphic back up. Blackhawks had 3 first-round picks in Phase 2. Their second one was pick 16. They selected Chase Crowley from Hill Murray.
Point per game player for his high school program as only a sophomore. I mean, that's pretty impressive if you ask me. Him playing against older guys at the high school level and still being able to produce for Hill Murray really says something about him. Hopefully the idea is that this guy ends up playing on the team in 2 years. I don't think he'll probably want to stick around his high school program next season, but I guess time will tell.
Yeah, that I could see before and after where we see him till roughly Thanksgiving, and then we'll see him again whenever his team's done, with the postseason.
Yeah.
Again, this is what the Puck Preps guys had to say.
The Waterloo Blackhawks select Chase Crowley, 6'2", 140, 2009 forward out of Hill Murray High School in Minnesota.
Yeah, so this is my first Minnesota high school guy that I've watched. It's getting picked here. Chase talking about a Chase here. So yeah, he's got some good range to him at 6'2", 140. He obviously could fill that out in the coming years, but currently he does have pretty good strength. He could protect the puck wide. I mean, it's tough to get around a wingspan like that when he's changing direction, shifting on his edges. As a playmaker, I really like him. He makes those calculated delays. He's not one to just throw the puck away. He'll wait, reset, recalibrate, and if there's nothing there, he'll make the simple pass to kind of spread the love around and maintain possession for his team. But yeah, I think there's a lot of upward potential here with him, given the vision, the hockey IQ, and then you fill it that.
Video cut off. Apologies for that. With the 17th pick, so Blackhawks had back-to-back picks here. They selected David Sedlacek from Karlovy Vary Jr. So a Euro guy, and you'll see a lot of Euros in the early rounds here for the Hawks.
Yeah, and you're kind of just taking a stab at Euros. Play styles over there a little bit different. Got good points. You've seen some international play. Number 43 skater for Europeans, so he's obviously got the talent, and the NHL's been watching him too.
Also keep in mind he did play one game in the Czechia professional league, so he's been sticking around that professional league, getting in practices with professional players. So I'm sure that experience will be great for him, and hopefully that transitions into the USHL next year. But I could see him making the roster. I could see him
100%.
wanting to. There's no doubt this guy is going to be good enough to be a Blackhawk next year or next season.
18th pick of the first round, they select David Sedlak, 6'2", 174 right winger. Looks like he plays internationally.
Yeah, I mean, we're fresh off seeing this guy at the under 18s, and I think he's another really good option as a potentially very useful USHL player. I think he's got a lot of really intriguing traits in his game. He's maybe not the most productive player in the world. I don't know if he's going to be your sort of top 6 guy, but he does bring a really nice combination of size and strength.
Okay, so even the ones on the list?
And, just a good combination of size and strength and overall ability that again, chips in different areas. I mean, he's coming from the Czech Junior League. He managed to get a game in the men's league here, which is also a very tough physical place to play. They don't play there if they don't think you can handle it. So Sedlacek's an interesting player. Again, a decent competitor for the Czech team that did quite well at the under 18s this year. So really happy with this pick, and he's a guy that kind of crossed my radar a little bit in the last few weeks at this tournament. And so I imagine Waterloo feels the same, and I think he'll be an interesting ad for this upcoming season.
So with that, that ended the Blackhawks round 1, and then they made a bevy of trades. They traded both of their round 2 picks and their first of the round 3. They traded down from 3 to pick 1 and pick 5. Pick 1 in round 3 to pick 5 in round 3, and with that, they selected Colin Dustin from the Rochester Americans.
This is a really unique pick because according to his elite prospects, he's supposed to play for Niagara University for next season. So I'm curious if they bring him into camp and try and convince him to push back his college to another season. But it's a good sign that he's already committed to a Division I college. That shows that he has a lot of great potential and would be a great fit for the USHL if he were to show up and play for us next year.
Go ahead and just play the audio on it.
Okay.
The third round belonged to Waterloo, and Waterloo selected Colin Dustin, 5'11", 170, 2007 forward out of the Rochester Junior Americans. So, Donish, that sounds like it would be you.
Yeah, this is another player that again, I'm unsurprised is taken this high. I think versatility is the name of the game for Dustin. He can kind of slot anywhere in your lineup. His measurables don't pop off the page, but he makes an impact with it. He plays a lot bigger than he's listed. So yeah, we have notes kind of his value as an offensive player, but I think where I see his most value is kind of as an energy checking penalty kill type player. So again, I think when you're drafting a player that you can the coach can put anywhere, I think there's a lot of value in this pick for sure.
Takes us to
With the one of 2 picks in round 4 for the Hawks, they selected another goalie, Jakob Husar.
Yeah, 16 years old. He's a young kid again. 09 birth year, playing in a U20 league, and yeah, they said he's one of the premier top Slovak goalies. You'll hear it in the clip too that they have their own version of the NTDP, where it's a U18 team and they play in a men's league.
Oh yeah,
and they said
second division, yeah.
They said they get he sees 50 shots a night, so his stats are just not that great in that league, but he's seeing a ton. But his stats for his main league he plays in, 2 and 3, 2.75 goals against and 92.7% save percentage. So stats are there. Yeah, the Slovak goalies seem like they spend a year in their U18 program, and then Fargo called up one of their Slovak goalies. I think February, right after World Juniors, and then he finished out the year. So we could see that this year they might hold him a full year, and we'll see him the following season. But it kind of fills in a goalie pipeline need that we had.
Yeah, very well said.
In the fourth round, Waterloo selects Jakob Husar, 6'2", 185, 2009 born goaltender. Looks like an international goaltender.
Yes, so this is from the Slovak junior program. So for anyone who doesn't know, the Slovak Ice Hockey Federation has an under-18 team. They play in the second professional division in Slovakia, and they just get absolutely destroyed every game. But that's kind of by design. They want them playing these bigger, older physical guys. They want them really tested. And so when you look this guy up, you might look at his .599 goals against average and an .856 save percentage, and you go, what is going on there? But, I mean, that's facing 50 shots a game from men who are, almost twice his age. I mean, this is a 16-year-old. He's fresh off of a silver medal as a third goaltender for the Slovak national team, so he's playing up a year with the under-18s. He's been their under-17 team goalie. This is a premier goaltender to Slovakia, so you might look up his numbers and be a little bit confused as to what's going on there, but rest assured, I mean, being at all a guy who can tread water at that level for a goaltender is pretty impressive. So an interesting pickup for Waterloo, and we'll see where he goes.
It's like us.
And a side note on that one, I had found a highlight of him on Instagram or X. He, I think it was this past season, he did have a goalie goal. So he's got the, maybe a little bit of a puck handling background to him and isn't afraid to take that shot, which would be awesome to see in Waterloo sometime.
I do think if there's a guy that is going to do it, it will be him, just based off that record. I think he'll go for it, especially, say he's in a game and Waterloo's up 3-1, 4-1, and you can risk that.
Yeah. Has there, other than Kevin Regan, has there ever been a goalie that scored for Waterloo? Because I know Kevin Regan got credit for one in a playoff game back in 2004, but I can't recall Waterloo ever scoring a goalie goal. It almost happened against us a couple of years ago against Sioux City in Sioux City. I was there in person for it, and yeah, we almost gave up one. It was like a couple inches away. The arena was going ballistic, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that almost happened. But would love to see a goalie goal in Waterloo as well.
So moving on, this pick really intrigues me. It's Thomas Mliniak from the Lethbridge Hurricanes of the WHL. And from my knowledge, he would be the first Blackhawk under the new rules to had played in the CHL, which is something that I really did not think possible. I thought when you go up, you're up. But Mliniak didn't really have a great year with Lethbridge up there in the Western Hockey League. So maybe he does make the jump down, and that would be very intriguing to me.
Yeah, he's also ranked 121 in the NHL Central Scouting. So it's one of those things where it's like, what do you mean he's like getting drafted into the USHL when he's already in the WHL? No, I'm also really intrigued and a little confused by this pick, but maybe the organization has made a few phone calls to him being like, hey, would you be interested in coming down to the USHL, maybe test out main camp, get a tour of Waterloo or something? Like, I'm curious if we're like, I don't know, maybe like offering him something, or maybe he just wants more playing time or exposure to that rather than being a third line guy in the WHL. He would rather get first line minutes in the USHL. That's why we drafted him.
And I do think part of this is also what the USHL and the USA Hockey and the NHL agreed on was the SPDAs, the Standard Player Development contracts, and maybe the USHL is close enough to the CHL or on the same level of the CHL where guys will come that are not playing good minutes in the WHL, CHL, and come down to the USHL and play first line, second line minutes and get more exposure that way.
Tomas Malinek, 6 foot 175, 2007 born left defenseman who played for the Lethbridge Hurricanes. Danish?
A lot of Malinek playing here in Western Canada. He's a player that I think has a long runway still. He's pretty raw, defends the ice, the middle of the ice well, keeps players to the outside, but there's some burgeoning confidence up ice. He's a pretty smooth skater, and as he adds some strength, I think that'll be a weapon for him as well. So yeah, he's a nice player at this point in the draft.
I'll be right back.
Moving on, the fifth round pick for the Hawks was Noah Nsana Quintala, French. So he's 6'2", 168, and he had 3 goals, 4 assists, and 1 goal, 7 assists in international play.
What league did he play in again? I kind of forget, and my Elite Prospects isn't working right now. So, what league did he play in exactly?
I am not totally for sure.
That's all right.
It's Marseille. I think it's like the French Professional League.
Okay, so that's like a good sign that he's playing against and developing when he's playing against older men. Then, so that he can like try and work up to that pace of competing against guys that are at their peak level of hockey. Okay. I don't see why not.
He does not. He doesn't have a more beautiful place to play fucking hockey though than in the south of France. Yeah,
but if he wants to develop his career, like he might as well come over to the States and play in the USHL or CHL.
100%. Yeah, it says top men's division in the French ice hockey pyramid.
That, and according to one of my friends who has his source to the team, this player is going to be coming to main camp. So,
see, that's kind of what I said earlier. Looking at some of his Instagram stuff, it kind of seemed like he'd maybe already been here and they'd seen him on the ice,
right?
Because they had said that they had some free agents in and liked what to see if they wanted to draft him. So it was kind of a interesting little tidbit that Gordon had said at one of the pregame interviews.
Yeah, it is interesting because I believe that was after a 3-3 weekend. They gave the guys on the roster a couple days off, and Gordon said that they had some free agents from Europe in, and Catala must have been one of them. And as Alex said, it seemed pretty destined that he was going to be a Blackhawk because Theo Besnier from Dubuque, who played for the Saints this year, commented on his Instagram post about a week ago saying Blackhawk ? And Cantala would not confirm nor deny. So he is a Blackhawk, and we'll look forward to seeing him next year. But here's what the Puck Preps guys had to say about him.
To Waterloo, and Waterloo selected Noah Sonsa Kitala.
Yes.
6'2", 161, 2007 born forward. Looks like he's playing internationally.
Once again, believe it or not, this is a guy I've been watching for a number of years in a row. Noah Sonsa Kitala is a really interesting player out of France. I mean, France is not necessarily known for being a necessarily high-end hockey factory, but Sonsa Kitala is an interesting one that's been on the radar for a little while. There were moments where maybe he was percolating as a potential NHL radar style guy, but I think in terms of being a USHL player, if Waterloo manages to get him to come over, I mean, he should have absolutely no problem being over here. He's not the burner, he's not the pure speed, high energy guy all the time, but really what he brings to the game is just a really smart overall offensive approach. If he needs to grip it and rip it, he really can. If he wants to make a play, pull the puck around a defenseman, take another look at the offensive zone, he's really good at that as well. He does have a bit of a physical energy to him, which goes along with his physical frame, but this is an interesting pickup. He's a really sort of premier player for the French junior program and the French men's league. He's a guy that's performed quite well, and so being a guy that can jump over here and play a pretty good offensive role for Waterloo makes a lot of sense to me.
So moving on, this is probably the most intriguing pick for the Hawks in this draft cycle. Round 6, pick 10 was Troy Hunka of the El Paso Rhinos. 28 goals, 57 assists, and 86 points.
Yeah, he's like we discussed it amongst us before the stream started, but I don't want to say probably one of the most excited guys in this phase 2, but the fact that you can put up 86 points in the NAL South, which obviously commonly referred to as their dirty South, they just a rough and tumble. Probably multiple line brawls a season. So he's out there playing in a tough division of the NAL. Bradley Walker came in last year and is kind of that more role playing grinder forward. And it turned out pretty good for the Hawks with that. And he had kind of surprised me that year. So hopefully this is another kid that can come in right away. Probably right away slot into a power play.
This player is also going to be aging out, correct? So like if he were to play this coming season, then his junior eligibility runs out, correct?
I believe he is the only 06 we drafted.
Okay. Just double
Which-
checking with that.
From the looks of it, looks like we're going age-wise young, but some good experience spread throughout.
Yeah.
Because besides him, the only other 06s I have possibility coming back would be Ada Vikla, and then Toby Carlson would be the only other.
Gotcha.
Well, and then Shea's technically an overager, but as we've seen this last year, apparently overage goalies don't count because Sioux Falls has like 6 overagers, and 2 of them are goalies, and it was allowed apparently. So
I mean, goalies, it does take them a little bit longer to develop, so it makes sense why goalies are typically 20 years, like both goalies on a team are 20 years old, because it does take longer for them to develop. So.
Well, and it's tough for like an 18-year-old kid to come over that is first making the jump from AAA to his his own age group to a league that has a good amount of 19 and 20-year-olds. It's just a big adjustment period, and yeah, we kind of obviously saw that with Filius Lasha, where he had it doubly so, where coming over from Europe, completely different style of hockey,
Right.
18-year-old jumping right into the league here last year, and
he struggled those
Yeah,
first
it
3
was-
games that he played. Oh my god.
it was a big ask.
Yeah. No, but that's why goalies, like, you see it more often than not where goalies will play in the NAHL for a year or 2, then play in the USHL and do just fine because,
Yep.
like I said earlier, it takes longer for goalies to develop. But this Troy Hunka guy, I think it said that he was committed to Robert Morris University, but that's for 2027, 2028. So is it assumed that he makes the Blackhawk roster next year?
I would assume so. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, if he's putting up 85 points in an NAHL season, like, he has to be good enough for the USHL, even if it means he's only putting up like 25 points at our level. Like, that's still a role player. So
Yep. Yeah, no, I feel like he's the type of candidate where even if he makes preseason and either doesn't like the role he's given or the team feels to go a different direction, I think he's in the USHL next year, whether it's here or if he gets a move to, if another team asks for him and we don't, weren't going to give him enough ice time.
Right.
I don't want to say there's no reason to play the Nolligan because you're not going to prove anything.
right.
But again, being down there in that type of fan base with the rough kind of tumble hockey might be drawing him back to do that if he doesn't get the ice time he wants here.
Right.
They select Troy Hunka, 5'11", 170, 2006 born forward. Looks like he played for the El Paso Rhinos. So El Paso in the North American League. Donish, believe you probably have some information on this player.
For sure, yeah. This is a really good value here at this point. He was one of the best players in the league. I think he finished 3rd in league scoring. And he's kind of put up points at every level, from U16 to U18 to the NCDC to the NUL. He's kind of produced constantly. So I think this is a player who knows how to create offense and has a really balanced approach. I think he profiles as a playmaker first and foremost. Really excellent vision, really excellent execution on his passes. He can filter pucks through really small gaps, but he's not pass only. And when defenders sag off and try to defend the center of the ice, he can rip it home from distance. So especially in the power play, I think he could jump in and run a power play in the USHL right away. So I think this is a high impact selection, kind of in the 6th round here. So really good value for Waterloo.
I will say just one note real quick. I really enjoyed the Puck Preps draft stream this year. They did a really good job paired with the USHL.
Yeah, it was straightforward, quick analysis, and then they kept up. They didn't lag
really
behind.
impressive.
I think the draft as a whole moved pretty good too, but I obviously I was listening at work, and when Waterloo was done, it stayed going in my ear, but didn't pay a whole lot of attention to it because it didn't really matter, obviously.
Moving on, the Hawks had 2 picks in round 7. The first one was Justin Blount of the Janesville Jets, 6 foot 179, 4 goals and 18 assists.
Yeah, it's just another one of those null guys that might just be a role player that don't have a big point total. Just get the body to camp and see how he plays.
I got nothing on him, so.
One note that I made mention to Alex during the draft that the Blanc pick has Kevin Gibson's fingerprints all over it. He's a Detroit guy through and through. He played for Honey Baked, and he's from the Detroit area. And obviously, Gibson was a scout for the Red Wings in the NHL for a couple of years. So, I mean, it has Gibson's fingerprints all over it.
The first pick in the 7th round went to Waterloo. They had selected Justin Blowink, 6 foot 179, 2007 left defenseman from the Janesville Jets. Looks like a player that played in the North American League. So Donish, looks like you can have some probably notes on this player.
First of all, I'm definitely jealous at the spread. It's not nearly as glamorous here with my cheese and crackers. So maybe I'll have to get some delivery in. But yeah, this is a player I like a lot. First of all, great name. I love his name. I think there's going to be a PR team with Waterloo that's going to have some fun with his body check highlights. But as far as the player goes, I do like him a lot. He has really good feet, I think. He recovers well. So again, he's another player that has covers a wide net because he's really supremely confident in his ability to track back. And then you also see that in retrieval. It's really nice escapability, able to kind of, again, keep a tight gap and not have to worry about getting pinned on the opposition forecheck. He kind of shifty and finds space to exit the zone as well. So again, he's a player who's just always involved. Up ice, neutral zone, and back in his own end, he's always around the puck. So yeah, this is a really nice pick for Waterloo.
The second of the 7th round picks for the Hawks was pick 7. It was Grant Mulsky, Stevens Point area high school, 6'1", 183, 44 goals, 43 assists, and 87 total points.
I feel like this pick, I kind of scratched my head at the most because high school hockey in Wisconsin, like, it's decent, but it's not at the level that like Minnesota is at or like prep high school hockey is at in Massachusetts. So it's always kind of a riskier pick to pick a player out of high school hockey from Wisconsin. Yes, he did play for the Team Wisconsin AAA program, but 71 points in 24 games. Like that is saying something. And he did have a short stint in the NAHL with the Wisconsin Wendigo. So that's a good sign that he can step up to junior level hockey. But like throw him in training camp and why not? I mean, if he's putting up 71 points in that few amount of games, like he must be doing something right. Not a whole lot much more you can ask from him.
I say, and at this point of the draft, they obviously know they're filling their list up pretty good, so you can just kind of throw some shit at the wall and see what sticks. I pulled up his high school team. Yeah, he's led his team in points. Second place guy had 64, and then third guy had 44. So there's a good shot that those three guys were probably on the same line together.
Yeah.
And then probably played power play together because the guy in second place had 38 assists, to go with Mulsky's 36 goals. So there's a good shot that they probably had some sort of, 1-2 play where, one guy might get a shot this time, the next guy gets a shot the next. So those point totals could be a little inflated. I think Wisconsin hockey's probably building a little bit. They have a pretty good footprint of different leagues there.
Right.
I genuinely think they could support a NHL team, but it'd be a little diluted with St. Louis, Chicago, Minnesota, and then like Detroit across the lake being there. It'd be kind of a busy area, but they got plenty of other professional sports there that do well, I should say. So
another thing to keep in mind when it comes to taking risking it with high school hockey players from Wisconsin is that Joe Bobelski never played AAA. He only played high school hockey in Wisconsin. And look how that panned out for us. So you never know with these players from Wisconsin.
178, 2008 born forward out of Stevens Point High School. It looks like that's a high school in Wisconsin. Played some games with Team Wisconsin 18U as well.
Yeah, I'm going to give Will a break here for his 5 consecutive European picks. Grant's he's a strong scoring forward. I mean, he could, again, like many of these kind of guys, really 6 foot, 180, that build, they can handle their own physically. They could weave between bodies, take a bump, take a shove, and stay balanced. With that, he can kind of step off the half wall. If he gets a bit of a jump on a guy, get to his forehand, take a nice shot from a good scoring area. Quick release, a nice heavy shot. So he's a clear scoring threat. Like, he'd be able to step in and, be a guy who could beat goalies clean if he has the opportunity and the chance given to him. He's hard to play against away from the puck. He's a valuable penalty killer from what we can tell. If he sees an opportunity to kind of lay the body and connect physically on a man, he'll take it. So it's an interesting mix of a guy who would score goals but can also be deployed on the penalty kill and play that physical game.
Getting to the end of phase 2 here for the Hawks. Really, we didn't see a lot of this type of player drafted in phase 2, but Jackson Marthaler with the first of 3 8-round picks for the Hawks, an NTDP, U18 guy. And, normally we see a lot of those type of players. Brendan McMorrow for the Hawks a couple years ago. I remember that draft was, I think, 6 of the first 8 guys were NTDP. 2 years later, you see a handful of them drafted overall.
I believe I saw on Twitter that they had the most drafted, in the recent history. It just was so much more spread out. It seemed like, it was harder to track. But, going into Jackson, he's listed by Central Scouting for NHL, so he's on the radar there. Got good size. He might have just been stuck, like a bottom pair defenseman where he just got, not as much ice time, not as much power play time. Probably was a penalty killer. I don't know. I didn't pay that much attention, obviously. So you just, get him to camp. If he performs well enough, make the team. He's gonna, he's obviously gonna be fundamentally sound and used to, probably good, strict coaching from the national team.
Yeah, but I kind of find this pick a little bit risky because, I have a feeling this guy might end up playing in the OHL next year rather than coming back to the USHL. So I think that's why we picked him so late, because I think he's a great player. Don't get me wrong. I mean, he's good enough to play for the development program. Clearly he's a good hockey player. But why pick him in one of the first 3 rounds when he might not even show up to main camp? Because he might go off to the OHL. So I don't mind this pick so late because, I mean, at this point in the draft, like you said earlier, it's kind of a crapshoot. I mean, you never know.
Yeah, and I want to throw in a note here. Only 14 Canadians were drafted in the entire phase 2. And like you just said, Brady, a lot of NTDP guys were spread out and later in the rounds because there's that greater risk of these guys jumping ship north of the border. And apparently, from what I've been told, USHL teams, not just Waterloo, were very, very hesitant on drafting guys because they wanted to make sure that they would come to the training camp and play with the team if they made it next year.
Right.
Did Jackson Marthaler, 6'1", 198, 2008 born left defenseman who played for the U.S. National Team Development Program.
Yeah, so I've seen a bit of this guy over the course of the year with the NTDP. An interesting sort of well-rounded but more defensive-leaning defenseman, I would say. He's a guy who can really get on his horse, really get around the ice really effectively. Has a lot of raw skating ability that I think really helps him get out of jams, and he has a physical edge to him that I think really helps him out as well. He's committed to Minnesota Duluth, which is a great program program to land in. But this is a guy that definitely, I think, could use another year to just continue to refine his puck skills, refine that offensive side of the game that was more there in youth hockey that I remember. And so an interesting player that I think has a lot of really interesting tools and, maybe a fringe NHL draft pick this year as well. But for the NTDP, he was a solid guy down the lineup for them that can fill a number of different roles pretty adequately. So interesting pickup that I think should be a solid USHLer as well.
Also on the NHL Central Scouting list this year.
Yes.
Moving to the second.
So last two picks, going back to Marthaler, he's 167 on the NHL Central Scouting list. So I know Tim Harwood does write-ups on who is on the Central Scouting list for the Hawks, and Marthaler, if he would make the team, would be in those write-ups and possibly be a draft pick before coming to Waterloo or going north, whatever he decides to do. The 7th pick of the 8th round was Sig Ebersol, 09, Little Caesar 16U AAA.
Is it assumed that he was injured for most of the season? Because on his elite prospects, it's listed that he only played, doing quick math here, it's listed he only played in 23 games total, the entirety of the hockey season. 4 of them were with the National Development Program, something to keep in mind. So he's good enough for that level of hockey. But it just seems like he didn't play a whole lot of games this past season, which is kind of my concern. But if he's good enough to play on the development program, then he's definitely good enough to play for the Hawks.
I believe I did see that. Yeah, he was injured for half the year.
Okay.
But yeah, again, playing up a year, 16U. Or no, I think that would be his birth year. But whatever. Obviously at this point in the draft, it's have him on your protected affiliate list and just see where his career goes over the next year or two, probably.
Right. Also to keep in mind, he does have OHL rights with the Sarnia Stain. So he might end up going to the OHL instead. But we're so late in the draft where it's like, you know what?
Whatever.
If he shows up, it's great. If not, at least we didn't waste a first-round pick on him.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
7th pick of the 8th round. That pick went to Waterloo. Waterloo selected Sigvald Ebersol, 5'11", 168, 2009 born right defenseman out of Detroit Little Caesars 16U team.
Yeah, I've been a big fan of Sigvald for a few years now. I mean, he was on an amazing 09 Little Caesars group, and glad to see he stayed within the Little Caesars program. He's a solid defenseman. I mean, he'll kill penalties. You could trust him out there in big minutes. He could play with skilled players. He can get them the puck. Physically, he's imposing. As he continues to grow, I think pack him more weight, and maybe he gains a bit more height as well. I think he'd be a guy who could be an everyday USHLer. Maybe not your top pair, but he'll kill penalties for you. You could trust him with the puck in his control, which, as a defense, all you want them to do is not turn it over. And I think he does a very good job at that.
And finally, the last pick of the draft for the Hawks, which really, it came as a shock to me because obviously we don't have their protected lists numbers. But it was round 8, pick 15. It was Max Aronson from Minnetonka High School.
I'm going to end up sounding really biased here because I have family from Minnetonka, Minnesota. So deep down inside, I am a Minnetonka Skipper hockey fan. But I really do like this pick. He was over a point per game player in 31 games for Minnetonka. Based off the fact that he doesn't play AAA hockey, I have a feeling that he plays other high school sports instead of doing AAA hockey. So like he could develop skills that are necessary for hockey outside of playing hockey. That probably didn't make sense, and I'm really sorry for that. But he's still like staying active during the off seasons of hockey, whether he's playing football or baseball, which have motor skills to help in his game with hockey, whether it's footwork or whatever it might be.
I'm saying he's the type of guy that I wouldn't put 100% guarantee on it, but he probably makes the team. Whether it's in a before and after or an only after, because being from Minnetonka, he's going into his senior year. Like usual, they're probably top 10 favorite to win state title again. he's not going to give that up.
Oh yeah, he's going to want to win a state title,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
not to
So
sound
we'll either
biased again, but they're probably going to next season.
I don't know. Not Grand Rapids, Moorhead probably get him again.
Ah,
But
We'll see.
no, so yeah, we'll either see him for 15 games to start the year, or we'll see him for 15 at the end of the year, and then probably a full-time player that following year, and then off to college if that is the next step, or maybe 2 years. I mean, it's tough to tell. And then you got the college eligibility rules that might be changing, where you got 5 years no matter what from 18 or 19 or high school graduation, whatever the hell they decide to fuck with college hockey, which they gotta look at that and take that into account, because college hockey's never been a start at 18. It's always been a 20-year-old league, pretty much.
Max Aronson, 6 foot 160, 2008 born forward. Looks like he played for Minnetonka High School in Minnetonka, Minnesota.
Yeah, so Max here, he's a solidly well-built forward, 6 foot 170. So he could probably pack on a little bit more weight if he wants to be a bit stronger heading into the USHL here, but produced pretty well, 37 points in 31 games to Minnetonka, which is a good team. He could score, he could pass the puck. He's just a routine offensive weapon at the Minnesota high school hockey level. I think there's obviously room to grow in terms of just speed and getting that next level pace for the USHL, but a solid bet here. 2008, so he does have kind of that little wiggle room to develop a bit more before he takes that step.
So that wraps up the draft. We got through it in about an hour, fellas, which is not normal. I think last year we took an hour and a half total. So improving that speed a little bit, and it does help that there's 3 of us tonight. It does definitely help, because there's a lot of back and forth of reading off stats and elite prospects last year. So, and I think adding these clips does help immerse a little bit. So hopefully the viewing experience is good. But moving on, we wanted to do a little bit of a roster outlook, very, very, very early roster outlook. Now, do not take any of what we say as concrete. We have people in the know in the team, but we don't have any roster outlook people that we can reach out to and say, hey, is this guy making the roster? Is this guy not? So this is what we've come up with. More so, Alex.
Yeah.
yeah.
Little nerd brain
Alex
working.
sheet.
So yeah, I color code it because I like looking at that. All the blues are the 3 announcements of the SPDAs that are signed. Yellows are the guys that we traded for that were in the league last year, that I would say there's probably like an 85% chance that they come back. Red is our returners that were around last year. I have Nash Road listed because I had asked his grandpa on Facebook in one of the posts, and he said it'd be a before after. That could change to be a full-time or a just after, but he played well enough that if he wanted to skip high school hockey, he could have a full-time spot, I would say. And then our returners they're all pending any future considerations, because future considerations could just be one person coming from that team to us, or it could be considered another trade type of deal. So it's kind of that. And then the green are our draft picks from this year that I'm guessing will make it. I haven't done a bunch of work. It's just kind of the initial list. So it's my little nerd brain that keeps me going over the summer waiting for hockey, and what I see on social media, because you'll see sometimes where players train over the summer will kind of say link them to teams or whatever. So it's just, it's obviously all hearsay till that September 1 when they put out the preseason roster.
Right.
So the forwards are Caden Jackman, Keegan Davis, Trevor O'Donohue, Hayden Russell, Cody Sokol, Sal Viviano, who I expect to return and probably get the captaincy as he's part of the leadership group this season. Toby Carlson, Nash Road, and Troy Hunka. A defenseman, Sam Peckham, Jack Noltgen, Ryan Poirier, Ada Vikla, James Russell, Jimmy Reber, Caleb Dianovich, Thomas Maliniak, Justin Blank, and Jackson Marthaler. And the goalies are Ryder Shea and Sebastian Charva.
I say, and the goalies are kind of an interesting situation. You know, we saw a little bit of Eli Zucker this year. I'd expect probably the third goalie spot for preseason come down to him or Philip Vavro that we got in the Jesse Orlowski trade last year. He carried his team through 2 rounds of BCHL playoffs this year. Left the last game with a concussion after absolutely getting ran over and not having a penalty called, so that kind of ended their run early. But yeah, then we have Hushar in the pipeline for maybe a half a season just to get accustomed to get ready for a full-time gig the year after. And I mean, and it could come down to a free agent invite at main camp. That makes a run and plays out of his mind and gets the third spot too. It obviously truly won't know.
Not to go inside of anyone's head here, but you said Philip Valvro of the BCHL, correct?
Yeah.
I have a good feeling that he doesn't show up to camp at all. He might look at this goalie situation that we have, and he might think like, I don't think I'm going to make this roster. I might as well stay in the BCHL, which is like a really great hockey league.
Yeah.
He might as well stay in the BCHL and be the number 1 guy for that team and get pretty much all the minutes rather than having to share the net with either Ryder or Sebastian. I think that would be an ideal situation for Philip. Or since we do have his rights, what we could do is trade him to another team, get a forward out of him, hopefully, or a bunch of draft picks. And But
I didn't even think about it from that standpoint. But yeah, no, it's possible. I mean, in my mind, I think Shea and Charva will be the goalie tandem for next year. But who knows how they perform in preseason?
Yeah, you never know. I feel like Eli Zucker, that goalie that we had for the preseason this past season, and he played in, I think, 1 game against the U.S. National Development Program. Yeah, I feel like he has a massive chip on his shoulder. So you never know. He might come out to camp and just put on a show because he has something to prove. Because we kind of gave him a cold shoulder this past season. Because he wasn't really getting a whole lot of playing time in preseason. I don't think he gave up a single goal in preseason in his half game of playing. So, like, he did all the things right during preseason to make the team, but we just kind of gave him the cold shoulder of like, oh, well, we already have these 2 other guys. Bye. Have fun at prep hockey. And then we threw him into a horrible situation of we weren't very good this past season, throwing him in against the U18s and him getting lit up in front of a team that didn't really have the greatest defense. Like that was kind of a cold shoulder move by the Blackhawks, but it is what it is. The goaltending position is so hard. It's just a complete mind game for them. So Eli Zucker has a massive chip on his shoulder if he does show up to main camp for us.
Yep. Yeah, no, that you almost had to feel bad for him, that NTDP the national team game. You put him in there, first game in that USHL against that team on the road after I guess it wasn't a 3-3, it was just a 2. But you then immediately give him like back-to-back fucking power plays he has to fight off against a team that's played 100 games together. Like, it's just a shit ordeal. And then, again, like you said, he could come in, play insane in the preseason, and it could be him and Shea or him and Sebastian. And, and we trade Shea for, whatever we can get for him. Yeah. If, not saying it will happen or it should, but, if it happens, it'd be another case where I remember back a few years, that first year we had Jack Spicer, he had did a podcast with some of his buddies back home over the summer. And that year it was going to be Crotto and I think it was Owen Millward we had drafted in phase 2 that year. And he came into, preseason and he had said they already had goalie pads bought for the other 2 guys. And he just came in as a body and just to get some experience. And yeah, he played out of his mind in the preseason, made the roster, and then that year, because he had played, Mount St. Charles or whatever it was,
Yep.
played some affiliate games with Lone Star Brahmas down in the Null South, and yeah, I mean I think he played half a season with his Mount St. Charles pads with the red and blue on there before he got his Hawk pads, because they weren't expecting him to make the roster.
Kind of forget about that. His first game as a Blackhawk was in Sioux Falls, correct? I don't know. That's probably too far of a question. My bad.
No, you're fine. Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I just know that year, because in that podcast again, he had said that when he made the roster, they had, made regular season, they straight up were like, "You're not gonna play. Like, you're gonna practice and get the reps." Because I think that was Crado's third year. Yep. So he was, experienced, and they were just going to give him the solid minutes while the team in front of him was still gelling. Because, you don't want to shove a 08, not an 08, but whatever, an 18-year-old in there. And again, have him get lit up repeatedly to start the year with a team in front of him that's still learning how to play together.
Well, at one point that same season, though, Emmett Crotto was injured. So Jack Spicer had to step in. And, he won us a lot of great hockey games.
Oh, 100%.
Season, if I remember correctly. So he stepped in at the right time and showed out for us. He was a great option in net.
Because I think that was the year that then they pretty much just said, fuck you in the playoffs and put Crotto back in net, didn't they? Or did he miss the whole year?
Respectfully, Crotto was way too good of a goalie not to start him in the playoffs.
Oh, 100%.
Because, he ended up getting drafted to Montreal. I mean, he was on his head. He's a big reason why we finished second in the Western Conference that year. But Jack, the nice thing was that he was a reliable backup for us. If anything, I felt like he got screwed over the next season when Calvin Vachon stepped in onto the team.
Oh, yeah.
Jack Spicer was supposed to be the starter.
Yep.
And I always felt like him and Calvin were about equal when it came to playing level. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, I guess Calvin's the starter. Cool. That it is what it is. But yeah.
Yeah, so like I said, this is not official. We have no inside sources for roster outlooks at all. This is what we're looking at for a potential roster, and only a couple overagers: Toby Carlson, Troy Hunka, Vikla, and Shea, who doesn't count for overage numbers. So maybe Gibson and Gordon get together and say we want to go after another overager, and maybe that's what they get in the future considerations trades from Fargo, Madison, or Sioux Falls.
Yeah, I don't know what Fargo's looking like for, what would be next year's overagers.
What's the limit? Is it 6 at the start of the season, and then by the third week of the regular season you go down to 5, or am I getting?
It's 5 down to 4.
5 down to 4. Gotcha. Okay, just double checking.
Let's see if I can pull that up quick enough.
My concern, though, when it comes to this coming season, is that there is a chance that Sal ends up playing up in one of the Canadian leagues, because he is way too good of a player to not even get a look to play up in one of those junior leagues. It does give me a little more comfort. I talked to him after the last home game of the season this past year, and I asked him, I'm like, hey, are you coming back next year? And he's like, oh, I would love to. Waterloo is the place to play. These fans are great. And I told him, I was like, if you come back, it's a pretty safe bet that you'll end up being the captain. So I really hope you come back. And I don't know. I know that he is probably getting a lot of looks from Canada, though, but I guess time will tell. Hopefully he returns.
I think with the SPDAs and all the new off ice stuff for the USHL, if it's close to the CHL, he might come back, even if he gets offers from the CHL, because he said in an interview with, I think it was the Hockey News, that he didn't want to play for another junior coach rather than Scott Gordon, which at that point in the season was a very unpopular opinion amongst the fans. But maybe, I think the the players like Gordon a lot more than the fans did, because the fans just look at the on ice performance and losing a bunch of games. You lose 15, 16 in a row,
Yeah.
and that tanks your season. But going back to Sal, if he's expected to shoe in for captaincy and you know he gets an offer from Scott Gordon, even if he gets an offer from the CHL, he'll probably come back. That's just my look on it.
Yeah, I really hope so, because he was so good for us. I'll never forget. This is gonna sound really weird, but I'm kind of friends with Mark Carlson, the head coach of the Rough Riders. I'm friends with his wife a little bit.
Oh yeah,
I talk to her from time to time, and before the season even started, I ran into her and she was telling me like, "Oh yeah, we're sending you guys 2 new players that I think you guys are gonna really enjoy." And she really hyped up Sal Viviano, and I'm like, "Okay, sure. Why are you guys giving him to us for nothing? Like, what's the catch?" And she's like, "Oh, we just don't have a roster spot for him. Like, we're just going to be too good this year, but I think he's going to do wonders in Waterloo, you know, for a team that's not supposed to be that good." And I thought she was just trying to smack talk a little bit, if I'm being honest, but like, boy, was she right. Like, yeah, after seeing him play for a couple games, the next time I saw Tammy Carlson, I was like, "Yeah, you were right. Thank you so much for sending him our way." And then same thing with Trevor O'Donoghue, who I also think was sent to us from Cedar Rapids. Although his points wasn't there, like he was still a solid player for us. He made the lineup most nights. So
yeah, they were both cut after training camp, and I think Sal went into it with a pregame or maybe an interview with Tim over the season. He was actually back home, and he gets a call from Kevin Gibson. "Hey, want to come play?" And then next thing you know, I think he drove out to Pennsylvania to join the Hawks for game 2 of the Fall Classic, because he didn't make it for game 1. He I think it was that Thursday, and he drove, and the Hawks were playing that Thursday, and he ended up being out there for Friday and played Friday. So
I did not know that. That's really cool.
That's another interesting tidbit, because that means he was a late cut from Cedar Rapids. That goes along with your story, and you know, he ended up playing top 6 minutes for the Hawks most of the season.
Yep.
And obviously on the leadership committee, Ty Mason and Sal Viviano were. So, like we said, he's probably a shoe-in for captaincy.
Yep.
I think that does it. Oh, we do have one fan question here, so I'll pull that up. Who do we think is going to win the Clark Cup? Out of the 4, they're all 1-1, right? They're all both series.
Yeah,
1-1,
both series are 1-1. Are we allowed to say who we don't want to win? Because for me, I don't want Fargo or Muskegon winning at all. Obviously Muskegon, because of us losing to them in the finals last year, and I don't like, this league is way too competitive for a team to win it back-to-back years. Like,
yeah,
I would hate to see that happen. And then I just have a lot of personal beef with Fargo. Every time I've made the trip up to Fargo for an away game, the fans there are like, not these Waterloo fans again with their cowbells. They're going to make so much noise tonight. Unbelievable. Like, it's just petty hate. And we've had a lot of great battles with them on the ice over the past couple of years. I know 2 seasons ago, we didn't win a single game against them. The year that we ended up going to the finals, we didn't win a single one, but or maybe we did. No, it was 3 years ago. I think it was 3 years ago. We didn't win a single game against them in a season, but no, we've had a lot of great on ice battles against Fargo, and it's just built up a lot of hatred with them. So, but with how Caleb Heel is playing for Madison, I think Madison's going to pull it off.
Alex, I think you're muted.
I am. There we go.
There we go.
Forgot that button was there. But yeah, no, if Heil has to keep playing the way he is, because if he starts slacking off a little bit, they're gonna get absolutely lit up, because I don't know, it's weird. Their offense is just dried up.
It's horrible.
Which doesn't make sense. They got the skill guys there, so I don't know. I don't know if they just are that easy to match up against, or they have a line that gets shut down or what. But yeah, it's been insane. Obviously, it'd be cool to see Brock get his championship with Sioux Falls.
Yeah.
I don't know the whole. I don't want to say I was ever a closet Muskegon fan, but they're always they kind of have they have that ability to get these interesting players in, kind of like what Chicago's been able to do. So they're always a little fun to watch because they get some of these, crazy Euros or like Russians and stuff like that. But I don't know, there's no teams left that I don't want to win. But I mean, a Sioux Falls Madison would be cool. It'd be kind of an interesting series. And for that one, it'd be the sub story of, to end Heil's USHL career, he can go out on top by beating his former team. Because I hate to be that guy, but when he was playing in Sioux Falls, he just never had that great of numbers. When seeing him, committed to North Dakota, I was like, he doesn't have that great numbers. Why do you want him? But this year he's proved why you want him, and it's even cooler because he opted to come back. Like, he had the option to go in to North Dakota last year, but wanted to play another year, which worked out because North Dakota then picked up Spoonar, and he had an absolutely insane freshman year.
Yeah.
It's still, it still feels gross having to cheer for him being from Dubuque, or now that Connor Davis from Cedar Rapids committed to North Dakota too. It just feels weird, or again, North Dakota having to, rooting for Reese Gaber for 4 years up there after seeing him for 4 years in the USHL was an interesting dynamic.
I personally, like you guys have said, Caleb Heil has to play the way he's playing, or Madison's going to get bounced, and they could lose this weekend if Caleb Heil has two off games. And he's been on the entire playoffs. But having that storyline, I'm going to add something here. I think it was a preseason game. I think Caleb Heil missed the Fall Classic for Madison because he was playing a preseason game for Tampa Bay and he won.
Yep.
I did not know that. That's insane.
Yeah, no, he got in a preseason game. And yeah, I think let's see if I can find that. But yeah, he missed the first weekend of the preseason because he was still at Tampa's camp and got into a preseason game. I think he started in one goal he gave up or something like that.
Yeah. He started and won a preseason game for an NHL team while coming back and playing a very, very, very good season for Madison. And I've always thought that this could be a possibility because of what he did. And he's a 7th round pick of Tampa last year. So they brought him into their prospect development camp and training camp as well. And he played a preseason game and won it. I think it was in a shootout. I don't remember who they were playing, but I think they were
playing against Nashville. I'm trying to find the game, but all I found is that they played against Nashville.
Yeah, so here it is. Nashville led 2-0, boasted a 22-8 advantage in shots. And then, he came in, stopped 7 shots, and then won it for him in a shootout. Which is insane that, you're going against, obviously, other grown men in a shootout, and you beat them.
But also guys that are possibly going to end up in the NHL, a couple weeks later, is also an insane stat.
Yeah, that Milwaukee team, who is Nashville's AHL affiliate, they were pretty good. They had some pretty good guys in their system. So, I mean, making 7 saves, winning a game in a shootout, and consequently missing Madison's Fall Classic, coming back and playing out of his mind here in the playoffs, it kind of comes full circle.
That's another thing like you talked about earlier. Goalies just take longer, and he finally, found a team that clicked and found what he needed to do to put everything together to make it a successful year for him. And we'll go into next year in North Dakota and should just be him and Spoonar split in time. I don't think they've picked up a third goalie yet because they lost Homer and Zach Sandy that had transferred in. But you got Spoonar playing the way he is. You don't need a bunch of experience.
Right. I mean,
honestly,
that they're looking for a third goalie out in North Dakota. Is that correct?
Yeah, because Homer transferred, and then they'd got Sandy, who was a Fargo native, that just kind of transferred in to fill a hole because Heil didn't want to come or whatever. And yeah, I think all they've gotten is Heil coming in next year, and I don't think they've seen anything else about a goalie, which they might be waiting to get maybe another CHL guy or wait to see who transfers where type stuff.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, they already have their number 1 and number 2 set, so it's kind of hard to get a decent goalie in to just be a third string. So what they might do is just pick up a guy in the NAHL and be like, hey, you're a body, you could play goalie, come be our third string, get the North Dakota experience and try and sell them on that. Because like at this point for North Dakota, they have their 1 and 2 set. There's no point in getting a CHL or a high-end USHL goalie in to be a third string and basically waste away their college career.
Yep, no, 100%. That's one of those things where you just kind of, in football it'd be a preferred walk-on type of deal where you're just like, come get part of your college career done and probably transfer to a D3 school after this year or whatever,
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I think. Well, to answer the question, I think Sioux Falls is going to win it. I think they're going to beat Fargo. Probably in 5. I think Fargo gets one at home with how close game 2 was. I think they get one at home, and then Sioux Falls beats Fargo. And I originally had Dubuque beating Fargo in the final, but that's just changed now. Sioux Falls has played good. Dubuque obviously got bounced by Muskegon. So I got Sioux Falls beating Muskegon because I think Caleb Heil has one off night too many in the playoffs right now, and he's hot. The team's really relying on him. I mean, I think at one point, Alex, you said shots in game 2 were like 37-9 or something for Muskegon or something like that. Maybe 27-9, but heavily.
Yeah, it was skewed a ton. Muskegon. Yeah, you just can't sustain that. I mean, but I guess you can. They have so far, but
I think eventually it dries up.
Yep, no, 100%.
I mean, because looking back last year, Carter Casey comes in and plays the playoffs and in an emergency role, plays good, but he also gets the offense in games where he's not. I think to that game 4 Sioux Falls game, and he gives up 5, and Blackhawks win it in double overtime for Brendan McMorrow. So the offensive support is there, and Madison just does not have that this year in the playoffs. Yep. But I think that will do it. Brady, I want to thank you for coming on, and you've been pretty persistent trying to get on the last year or so, and we've been consistent episodes. So I'm glad it finally worked out.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Well, for Alex Kane and Brady Miller, my name is Elijah Bond, and this has been episode 7 of the Party Town Podcast.
See you.